Well, it's turning out to be quite the close race for the Pennsylvania Senate. The current leader, Trump-endorsed candidate Dr. Mehmet Oz, who was on our show yesterday, is just a few percentage points ahead of Kathy Barnett and others, who's stirring up quite a bit of controversy. Kathy is around her time in the military. Let's bring in Donald Trump Jr. to react. Don, thanks for joining us. Okay, so this Senate race is a big race because you really want to hold a Republican Senate in Pennsylvania. You want to in order to take back the Senate in 2022. So Oz was not really leading until Donald Trump, President Trump, supported him, endorsed him, jumped right to the top above McCormick. And then this is the interesting phenomenon. This is politics, folks. So Oz goes to the top. McCormick and Oz are fighting out. They're duking it out in Pennsylvania on the airwaves. Television filled with the two of them. And then all of a sudden, Kathy Barnett, who's quietly third or fourth place, bubbling up near the top. What's going on in this race?
You know, I don't know. I don't know enough about her to be able to really comment. I definitely see some sort of the big money groups that opposed my father in Ohio sort of backing her and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know enough about her. I don't know that she's been vetted. I hope that you know, it sounds like it could be an interesting person, but when you jump in sort of last minute and sort of make those waves, it's sort of hard. I just want to be careful that we don't hand Democrats a win because we don't know enough about candidates. So I've sort of stayed away from the race. In general, I don't know enough about, you know, the candidates. There's places I wade into more deeply where I have direct relationships with the individuals, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, I don't know anything about her. And that's always a little scary in politics in the sense that I don't want to hand the Democrats sort of a clean slate to then use the next 6 to 8 months to be able to find out all sorts of stuff, skeletons in people's closets, and use them against us in the general. For me, it's all about winning the general election. And I want to make sure, you know, we don't hand Pennsylvania over to Democrats.
Major mistake to hand that seat over to Democrats because, as you point out, well, you know, Oz is strong. He's like we said, he's leading thanks to the endorsement of Donald Trump. But McCormick and Oz fighting it out, and that it's scary to think that some that we don't know a lot about. And there's a lot of questions about her military past, Kathy Barnett, I'm talking about. And so if it were to come out after a primary, if she were to take the primary, because the two leading contenders are fighting so aggressively against each other, the Democrats might have something to bring to the table to take her out to leg sweep Kathy Barnett, and then you'd lose that very important Pennsylvania seat. If I may, you know, there's this weird thing going on between Mike Pompeo, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is Mike Pompeo was Donald Trump presidency's Secretary of State, right? And all of a sudden, he's taking a shot at Mehmet Oz for some weird reason. Take a listen to how Oz defended himself on our show yesterday.
It's a distraction that keeps rearing its ugly head, and I don't see it as anything of any benefit to anybody to have brought that up. Our heritage is something we should all be proud of. It is bigotry to say anything otherwise. I think we should just move on and focus on the issues.
So it's cutting in now a little bit, but Don, here's the question. Why is Mike Pompeo doing this? Is he starting maybe a trial balloon, a weather balloon to see if Mike Pompeo wants to run against perhaps Donald Trump in 2024? Is this a little bit of testing the waters on his part?
Well, listen, I think there's an element of that. I think you can look at a bunch of people out there that are sort of testing the waters for themselves. You know, I think you also have a lot of sort of DC swamp relationships. You see a lot of that coming in primaries, or, you know, people sort of campaign GCs, the general, you know, sort of the guys running the campaigns. You know, they run other people's campaigns, so they get them to endorse their guy in a different race. You know, I think people don't fully understand just how swampy, you know, the whole political game is with all of this. I don't think Mike Pompeo, he's a smart enough guy to probably know that he shouldn't or wouldn't run against Donald Trump. But, you know, in the event that Trump decides not to run, you know, there's a lot of guys you see testing the water. And, you know, that's the nature of that business. You also, if you start looking at, you know, who are friends and who are running people's friends' campaigns and when are they calling in their favors, you know, you see a lot of endorsements going out right now where, you know, the people actually have nothing to do with the other candidates, but the guy that's their campaign guy is running the other person's campaign. And so they're doing them a favor and showing up You saw that a lot in Ohio, against J.D. Vance just a week ago. So that's the nature of the game. Unfortunately, I like to be pretty transparent about all these things. That's why, when I go in and support these guys, I'm like, hey, I'm not on a campaign payroll. I'm actually doing it because I believe in these guys. Most of the people in politics can't say that, or they're doing a favor for someone who is on the payroll. And it's pretty sick. I mean, I want more transparency in this process so that people actually understand who's doing this for the right reasons, who actually believes in the candidates they're endorsing versus either being on a payroll or, doing a favor to a friend that is on a payroll. There's so much of that stuff out there. It's actually pretty disgusting. And I think we got to get rid of that as much as possible so that the American people can have people actually representing them who believe in the people that they're pushing, and actually have people who don't just need that job and just aren't part of the machine.
It's amazing. It's amazing the parade of candidates that come down to Mar-a-Lago and look for that endorsement and how powerful the endorsement ends up being. I saw something, I believe yesterday, that 47 Trump-endorsed candidates have won their primaries or won their elections. Give us a scorecard. What do you think? How valuable is the Trump endorsement?
Listen, it's very powerful for the reasons I stated. Donald Trump doesn't need to do these things. Donald Trump doesn't have to be out there doing it. He's not part of that swamp, even if he was the president of the United States. That's why he did it. And I think you saw the results. And you also saw results under unprecedented incoming, Eric, from both sides. Right. It wasn't just the Democrats that went against Trump. It was the establishment DC guys, the same people that we're seeing now, in a baby formula shortage, sending $40 billion to Ukraine. I mean, both sides were against Donald Trump. That's what makes the gains that we had as a country, as a citizens, as an economy, so impressive under Trump. He was able to do that with both sides actively working against him. And you're going to see that continue because, we're watching, big military, big war, the military industrial complex, whatever you want to call it. They want to be back at the trough. They were watching big pharma for 2 years, raking billions and billions and billions of dollars. And it's their turn again. So, let's get in a proxy war with Russia. What could go wrong? The world's actually probably, in terms of nuclear warheads, the largest in the world. I mean, this is a wonderful idea. Let's go with an unstable, power-hungry dictator like Putin. Let's provoke him to defend a super corrupt country like Ukraine, because, Bono puts on a concert there with YouTube. I mean, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's the furthest thing from America first I could imagine. But, the second they get rid of Trump and they can go back to the old ways, they will do that, which is why you need a Donald Trump in there saying enough is enough to this crap and actually putting America first.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. We did a monologue yesterday about baby formula. Baby formula in America is scarce. This is a metaphor of the absolute failure of the Biden administration. Baby formula, one of the most basic necessities, the basic protections.
But it's so much worse than that, right?
Keeping people safe, but it doesn't matter if you can't feed your people, and that is huge.